Alright, right now I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and this is what the room looks like when I film any sort of content. I just have one room where I sleep, work my full-time job, film all these videos, so you can see it's getting way too crowded. And I think it's finally time to look for something bigger, so let's go condo hunting.
Feels like daydreaming. No, I sit down. I love my life.
Alright, before we get into all the units today, I wanted to quickly talk about my criteria. I'm actually still living with my roommate, the same one since our senior year of college, so it's been a few years, but this time around we're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit in downtown Toronto. So my roommate will take one room and then I'll take the other 2 rooms, one for my actual sleeping bedroom and then one for my studio/office space. And these all have to be like real bedrooms, none of those dens with sliding doors, which are actually pretty common in Toronto. And the second main constraint is budget. We're looking for something under $4,000, so there aren't actually that many units to work with, especially in Toronto where the rent can get pretty expensive depending on what area you're in. The third thing I'm looking for is decent views and good natural lighting in the unit. I never cared too much about the view, but now that I'm always working from home, it would be nice to have something a bit more motivating than literally looking into the office buildings directly in front of us. I also film more content now, so I see the value in good lighting, especially in the winter where natural light is already really lacking in Toronto. Oh, and another thing I didn't really care about before, but now I do, is having good amenities in the building. Okay, so in Toronto, most condos will have some kind of a gym and a party room, and then you might get some extras like a pool, an outdoor terrace, a lounge, and whatever else. I mainly work out of my condo gym now, so having a nice, spacious, and well-equipped gym is pretty important to me. And then having any of the extra amenities would also be nice. And lastly, it should be a corner unit with actually usable space. Corner units are actually pretty common for 3-bedroom units, but we don't want any of those hallway apartments that are super narrow or have weird shapes and layouts. It'd also be nice to have the kitchen and the living room a bit separated, so the living area isn't directly in the kitchen, which is actually quite common in Toronto, as you'll see. But yeah, that's about it. Can't be too picky at this price for a 3-bedroom, so things like location and balcony size are more of a nice to have. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first unit we're looking at is in the Regent Park area in the very east end of the city. I didn't love this location, but I also never come this far out. We're pretty much outside of the downtown core at this point. This neighborhood kind of felt like a suburb because everything was so flat and spread out, and there's this giant park down the street, but there's a good amount of fast food places and other shops downstairs, and everything feels pretty new. First thing I noticed though was that this unit we were seeing was on the 13th floor. I've never seen a building in Toronto keep the 13th floor since nobody usually wants to live there. Stepping into the unit, the hallways are kind of like a maze, but the living room and kitchen area itself is quite spacious with a lot of natural light coming in, which is good. The kitchen is nice and you get a pretty big fridge with lots of storage space, plus a huge kitchen island, which I really liked. The balcony is also pretty big and you can even get a glimpse of the CN Tower from here and some of the other parks nearby. And things were looking good for this unit until I got into the rooms, because the rooms were an immediate no for me. So this is the master bedroom, and you can already see how the windows are really narrow, and today is already one of the sunniest days in Toronto. The room itself wasn't that big, and there's a small closet in here as well. But the weirdest part is this ensuite washroom sliding door plus the accessibility washroom, which was also kind of a waste of space for us. And the other bedrooms weren't much better. They all had these kind of weird layouts, making it hard to use the space properly, and the very narrow windows. And this was the 3rd bedroom. It also had this weird sliding door thing going on, and I just wasn't a fan of it. And the window kind of looks like a prison cell, so let's just move on. Alright, so the second place we're looking at is closer to the city's core, near Toronto's Yonge and Dundas Square. It's actually in downtown this time, but again, the area isn't my favorite because it can get quite sketchy around here at night. But stepping into the building, the first thing I noticed was the ongoing construction. As you can see, there's still construction everywhere, and the elevators here weren't even working properly yet. But the hallways and units themselves were all finished. Inside we have some hallway action, and then this is the kitchen and living area, which has pretty decent natural light, but quite a smaller space than the last unit, and I don't like how there's basically no living room. The view is also obstructed in all directions since we were only on the 12th floor, and there are also no balconies in this building, which was a pretty big downside. The actual kitchen has nice finishes and pretty standard appliances, but these new condos in Toronto are definitely making things smaller and smaller. But heading into the master bedroom, I think the rooms are nicer than the first unit with the wider floor-to-ceiling windows, but again, the overall space is pretty small, and if you look outside, the view is also pretty uninspiring. The This is the master bedroom and it's already not that big, and here's the ensuite bathroom. Pretty standard and I like the finishes, but it was much smaller compared to the second washroom, which is this one, and it actually felt so big, like it was kind of like a waste of space. Anyways, the other two rooms also had a mediocre obstructive view, and I was trying to envision what I could fit in each of them, but they're just a bit too small and kind of hard to work with. That brings us to the third unit today, which is actually in the same building but with a different layout. So that room has the same layout that we just saw, and this one will be a bit different. But walking into the kitchen and living room space here, it's immediately bigger and more usable. I like how the living room is distinctly separate from the kitchen, and I can imagine having a kitchen island here that doesn't block the living room space, and then having like a couch or something else here. The windows aren't floor to ceiling this time, and it's the same view but on a higher floor, so you can actually kind of see the financial district from here. And the bedrooms definitely feel bigger too. This is the master bedroom with the ensuite bathroom, and over here you get a pretty unobstructed view, which is nice. And yeah, it looks like you could actually fit a desk and a bed in here. Both of the washrooms in this unit are the same standard size this time, but the other bedrooms were actually kind of weird. Like in the second bedroom, you get this weird narrow gap in the side. I don't know what the builders were thinking, but they clearly didn't care. But at least the third bedrooms here were bigger with the corner windows, and yeah, the windows aren't floor to ceiling here, and there are still no balconies, so overall I wasn't really sure if this was the best option. We still decided to check out the gym in this building anyways because we heard it was finished, and it's actually surprisingly very nice and massive. Definitely my favorite part about this building. They really have everything in here, from a water rower to a Smith machine to the Stairmaster and even a yoga studio section. Alright, the fourth unit we were looking at today was so far annoying to drive to because it was by the harborfront area of Toronto. It's close to the waterfront and Scotiabank Arena where the Toronto Raptors play, but I hate the roads here since there's always traffic, and I can only imagine how bad it is on a Raptors game day. There's also no parking lot for the actual building, so you have to use this public paid parking where I spent $40 on parking because I lost my ticket. But this unit was also currently occupied, so I couldn't even film much, and honestly walking around it, it was so messy and in some desperate need of deep cleaning. But I knew this one was not it when I saw the third bedroom, which, look, it can barely fit even a desk and a chair, so this one was definitely not the one. Even the master bedroom here was super small, and the only redeeming quality of this building is the balcony with the lake views, although even that was pretty obstructed, so on we go. Alright, the last building we're visiting today is in the entertainment district of Toronto. Not gonna lie, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the city, and it's where I currently live. You're just close to all the good food and activities, and it's also just an extremely walkable area. We're looking at two units in this building, and the first unit actually had a lot going on because apparently there was a flood recently, but still gonna give it a fair chance. This is what the kitchen and living room area look like. You have your standard appliances and a decent amount of storage space. But again, the bedrooms in this unit were just way too small. This is the master bedroom, and the floor to ceiling windows are nice, but it's already too small, and you also have this massive pillar in here, which you have the exact same pillar in the second bedroom as well. There is this balcony connected to the second bedroom, which is kind of weird, but here are the views. Not the worst, but also nothing special. You're kind of just looking onto the other taller buildings beside you. Overall, this unit was just very in need of repair work, as you can see, and yeah, this closet was fully ripped out, so let's just check out the next unit. Okay, so this unit is actually in the same building as the last one, but it's bigger and more expensive. You get a bit of the windy hallway again, but when you get into the actual kitchen and living room, this place is massive. I like the corner design kitchen, and you actually get a full living room this time with a lot of space to work with. I could imagine having like a couch there and then a separate dining area on this side. Now the master bedroom is also a pretty usable space. You can see how spacious it is looking onto the balcony. And this balcony again had pretty mediocre views looking into the other buildings, but let me tell you, this balcony was massive and it looped all the way around the unit. The second and the third bedrooms were smaller than the master and had these weird corners that would make furnishing it a bit more difficult. And then the third bedroom is just tiny. I would probably use this one as my office/studio, and there's a tiny little closet, but overall the rooms are just much smaller to work with. And one more thing I didn't love about this unit was how dark all the finishes were, from the kitchen to both of the bathrooms. It's not a deal breaker, but yeah. Honestly, after day one of viewing all these units, I didn't particularly like any of them, but it did help me realize that I wanted to stay in this area, the entertainment district of Toronto, as I'm kind of used to the neighborhood now and it's super walkable. There's tons of good restaurants, bars, shops everywhere. It does get a bit louder, especially on weekends, but I always stay up pretty late anyways, so that doesn't really bother me much. Today's day 2. The weather is a lot more gloomy. It's like very Toronto-like. And like I said, we knew we wanted to stay in the area, so today we're limiting our search to just this entertainment area within Toronto, hopefully looking at a few better units than last time. Okay, so this unit is one of the more expensive ones we're looking at. Not gonna lie, I was already a bit biased because I saw that there's a basketball court at the gym here. But stepping into the unit itself, you have a little closet space, washer and dryer, and then this is the secondary bathroom. It's a bit on the smaller end, but the shower is actually surprisingly roomy. The kitchen area itself is pretty open, and I do like the finishes. You have a bit of storage everywhere, but the appliances and the fridge is definitely on the smaller end. The living space is right in front of the kitchen, but I think we could fit a couch here and a TV on a stand here, and then a kitchen island or a table here that separates the kitchen from the living space. Starting with the second bedroom, it's actually very spacious with an amazing view. You also get a decent closet space here, but check out this view. You have unobstructed views of the CN Tower, the Rogers Center, and then the lake in the back. And the only thing that I didn't love was that the windows were kind of on the ground again. And then the third bedroom also has the same view, but it's also a corner room, which is even crazier. The closet is much smaller, and you also have this pillar taking up a bit of space, but I could see this being a crazy office and studio space. And the balcony in this unit is a bit smaller, but I really like the views too. It's almost fully unobstructed facing south and west, but you can see a little bit of the other buildings if you look to the right. Let's check out the master bedroom now. So you have this hallway with the ensuite bathroom. It is a bit bigger than the second bathroom. And the room itself is also a pretty good size with a big closet space. It's weird because this room faces the balcony but doesn't actually open up to it. And the views are obviously not as good from this side, but you can still see the lake and parts of the city, so not bad at all. And of course, the last thing we really wanted to check out was the gym and basketball court, and it wasn't actually ready yet, but luckily it was open for us to walk around while it was still in construction. And this was crazy, probably one of the nicest apartment gyms I've seen in Toronto with 2 floors. And the basketball court is outdoors, but it did not disappoint, and I was so excited. And the second floor looks super promising as well with this CrossFit area, and then all the weight training stuff. Okay, this next building is again in the same area, so just down the street, but this one is actually a penthouse. It is a bit of a weird lobby, but once you get to the PH floor, you can definitely tell by the taller ceilings. Stepping into the unit, this one has a separate washer and dryer room, which is something I've never seen before in a Toronto apartment. You pass the secondary bathroom here, but again, I can't get over just how tall these ceilings are. The kitchen is pretty standard. I do like the corner shape, and you have some extra storage here. And of course, all of your standard appliances. Then the living space looks onto the balcony. These are the secondary and third bedrooms, and then the one on the other side is the master. The balcony is an okay size and very unobstructed, but we were so high up, I don't think I could use this much because it's way too windy up here, but the view was pretty nice. You can see the lake and even a bit of the CN Tower there. Heading into the rooms though, starting with the master, they're again a bit smaller than what we're looking for. You do have these really tall floor to ceiling windows, which are nice, but it looks like even the master can barely fit a bed and a desk. But you do get a walk-in closet with a pretty good amount of space. And then the ensuite bathroom has this double vanity, which is again first for me in a Toronto condo. Second bedroom was also kind of small, and overall this unit was just in desperate need of repairs, like the walls were scuffed and the blinds were all messed up and not working. And then the last bedroom was the smallest one. Honestly, the only thing I liked here was the views and being able to see the CN Tower from your rooms. And also the fact that these ceilings were so tall, like neither of us jumping could touch the roof. They were definitely over 11 feet or something. Alright, this is the last building we're seeing, and again, it's in the same area, so we just walked over. I like that there are 6 elevators, but this building is also brand new and still finishing construction. Stepping into the unit, we have the coat closet here, and then this windy hallway again, which leads to one of the bedrooms and the secondary bathroom. The shower is a good size, and I really like the details on the finishes throughout this unit. Okay, the first bedroom here is a pretty decent size. You don't have floor to ceiling windows, but you get a mostly unobstructed view. And then heading into the kitchen and living space, this unit is actually quite big and I really like the layout. I can imagine having a kitchen island here to divide the space, and I also really like the backsplash and the small details in this unit. And then the living room connects to the second bedroom and then the master bedroom. But first, let's take a look at this balcony, which is a bit on the smaller side. The view is not bad though, and it's pretty unobstructed. There's just not much to see since this part of the city is kind of ugly in my opinion. The second bedroom is also pretty spacious, but the first thing I noticed was this weird gap. It's technically also a corner unit, so you have the 2 windows and I guess a good amount of space. And then finally the master bedroom, which has a walk-in closet and a pretty usable room as well. It actually faces another balcony and the walk-in closet is very nice and spacious. Oh, and this is the ensuite bathroom, pretty standard stuff, but again, I really like the finishes here. Only problem with the master bedroom is this narrow window here, giving it less natural light, and that's because the balcony actually faces onto a bunch of other buildings. It's not a really great view in my opinion. Oh, and the last thing we noticed was this laundry door was opened too hard by someone else and somehow poked a hole in this new unit. Alright, today is move-out day and we actually ended up picking one of the units shown in the videos today, but I won't reveal which one it is just yet. But I'm super happy with our decision and honestly just can't wait to move out of this place and into this new place because this place has been a mess over the last couple of weeks. I'm also really excited to show you guys the new place, so let me know out of all the units today which one you would have picked and we'll see if we ended up picking the same one.